3 days before the first murder, a judge held a petition in his hands. A woman had written 5 words: "Jacob Baker threatened my life." The judge read it and denied it. Insufficient evidence. 72 hours later, 3 bodies appeared on the island of Hawaii. 3 elderly men. 3 separate locations. 48 hours. No one knows the motive. To this day. This is a case about what happens when a system hears a warning and still does nothing, and about a man. His neighbors called someone with a big heart, whose name, by the end of that same week, had become the most wanted name in Hawaii. To understand this case, you need to understand Puna. Puna is the eastern side of the Big Island. Rainforests, lava fields, bananas, and papaya growing along the road. People who live here have deliberately chosen a life outside the system. No lease, no steady job. Instead, a trade. You work the land. They give you a place to sleep. Organic farms, intentional communities. People who call themselves living for real. Puna is a place where an outsider can disappear quickly, because there are a lot of outsiders here, and because asking too many questions isn't how things work. It was exactly this kind of place that Jacob Baker arrived in a few years ago. 36 years old, from California, wilderness survival skills, and a history he wasn't eager to share. People in Puna knew him. He worked on organic farms, climbed coconut trees for money, made videos about it. In November 2025, a clip of him went viral. 2 million views. In it, Baker jumps off a boat into the ocean, holding a bong and a bag of marijuana, trying to get them to shore safely. A wave takes everything. He responded online, "I don't know why me. People jump off boats every day." Richard Valdez, a neighbor, remembered him as logical, compassionate. He described himself as a from-the-heart person. He loved dogs. He recently stole one, named Bruce, just for the company. He had a newborn daughter. In California, he had served time for assault with a deadly weapon, a 120-day jail term, 2 years of probation that ended in May 2024. That was his entire official record in Hawaii, just traffic citations. Stephen Schaffer, whose ex-wife ran an organic farm, recalled that Baker had worked there for several months, climbing coconut trees, helping with the harvest. In exchange, he had a place to live, a standard arrangement for Puna, until his behavior changed. His ex-wife eventually sought a restraining order too. Same reason. She felt threatened. But there were things not in any official database. In the weeks before the killings, something was shifting. He posted long, incoherent rants on TikTok. Red markings appeared on his face. In one video posted days before the first body was found, he said, "These yikikers are tweaking." The woman whose farm he had been living on started to notice. The behavior was becoming more erratic, more aggressive. According to locals, word was he had gotten on meth. Word was he had become psychotic. On May 24, 2026, 2 women filed petitions with the district court for temporary restraining orders. Both lived or worked near Baker. Both were describing the same thing: threats, unstable behavior, fear. One of them was Janelle Honer. She wrote, "Jacob Baker threatened my life." The judge denied both petitions. Insufficient evidence of harassment. That was on a Friday. The weekend, courts closed. On Monday, the killings began. Monday, May 25, 2026, 6:30 p.m. Puna patrol officers respond to a report of a disturbance on Papaya Farms Road. On the scene, Jacob Spandel. He tells officers he just had a physical altercation with Baker, who had been staying at his property for 4 days. During the confrontation, Spandl's dog barked at Baker. Baker kicked the dog. Spandl punched Baker in the face several times, and then Baker started screaming, over and over, "Bob is dead, Bob is dead, Bob is dead." Spandl tells the officers, "The only Bob anyone around here knows is Robert Shine, 69 years old. He lives right behind the house." The officers go to check. Shine's home is shaped like an igloo, built from unconventional materials. Inside, a concrete fish pond, 4 feet high, 10 to 12 feet wide. They find Robert Shine face down, fully submerged. Blood from his eyes, blood from his nose, abrasions on his shoulders, back, face. Near where he slept, a notebook. On the notebook, the letters LF. On the wall, the words La Flaquitas. Remember that. The next day, Tuesday, May 26, at 12:39 p.m. Another call. A few hundred feet from the first body, officers find a second man. Frederick Chitta Morse, 79 years old. He is in his bed. Blood on the headboard. Blood on the floor. Blood across the bedding. Traumatic injuries to his face, chest, and hand. Several fingers severed. On the headboard, writing. The letters LF and the words Santa Muerte. Nearby, a piece of scrap wood with words scratched in Pedofilio. Drogos. La Cocaina. LF again. The same handwriting, the same person. And it wasn't over. That same night, Tuesday, 10 p.m., 19 miles from the first two bodies, a neighbor files a report. His neighbor, John Carse, is missing. Police arrive. John Carse, 69 years old, dead. Cause of death, sharp force trauma. A knife. 3 bodies, 48 hours, 3 separate locations. And no one had an explanation. Hawaii Police Chief Reed Mahuna held a press conference. He was asked, what did the 3 victims have in common? He said 2 of them lived near each other. That was it. No organized crime connection. No business dispute. No shared enemy. All 3 were elderly men living in a remote part of Hawaii County. All 3 were known to Baker. A possible motive? Police have not named one. The prosecutor said at the hearing, "We are confident that this suspect is responsible for or involved in all 3 homicides, but we cannot disclose at this time the evidence and methods that led us there." Meaning, they knew. They just weren't saying how. That itself tells you something about how specific the evidence against him turned out to be. Police named Baker as a suspect. Armed and extremely dangerous. Federal agencies mobilized immediately. The FBI, the U.S. Marshals Service, the Department of Homeland Security. Police Chief Reed Mahuna described significant resources deployed. Drones, ground teams, aircraft. Puna became a search zone. Residents received warnings. Schools went into heightened security protocols. Baker knew these places. He knew how to survive in the wild. He knew how to move without being seen. But he made mistakes. A surveillance camera caught him near Kaimu Cove, ducking down to the ground every time a car passed. A tip came in. May 28, 2026, 2:45 p.m. The Hawaii Police Department confirmed the arrest. Jacob Baker found in a small cave. Taken into custody without incident. No weapons on him. 6 days after the first body. 3 days after the manhunt began. The hunt was over. The probable cause document submitted to Hilo District Court before Baker's first hearing revealed what police had been holding back. First, the day before the killings, Baker asked a friend to drive him to a store in Hilo. He bought a knife and metal knuckles. On the way back, he told his friend, "I'm going to shank all the rapists in Pahoa and anyone who messes with me." That was documented. It is now part of the criminal case. Second, the same inscription, LF and La Flaquitas appeared at the scene of the first killing, at the scene of the second killing, and was linked to a tattoo Baker had recently gotten. Just before the murders, he had gotten a tattoo under his eye. It said, La Flaquitas. In Mexican folk tradition, La Flaquitas is one of the nicknames for Santa Muerte, Lady of Holy Death. The same words at the crime scenes, the same words under his eye, the same notebook with the same letters found near one of the victims. Third, witnesses confirmed Baker knew the victims. He had lived near some of them. He had worked on the same land. Fourth, when he was arrested, photographs showed he appeared significantly thinner than in his booking photos from years earlier. 3 days in the rainforests and lava fields of Puna had left a mark. At his first hearing on June 1st, 2026, Judge Jeffrey Hawk denied bail and granted a defense request for Baker to undergo a full psychiatric evaluation. That detail matters. We'll come back to it. On May 31st, 2026, the Hawaii Police Department formally announced charges. Jacob Daniel Baker, 36 years old, Pahoa, Hawaii. 1 count of first-degree murder, intentionally or knowingly killing 2 or more people. 3 counts of second-degree murder, 1 for each of the 3 victims. Additional charges: burglary, auto theft, a vehicle taken without permission during the flight, criminal damage to property. Nearly a dozen criminal counts in total. Held without bail. His first court appearance was held on June 1st, 2026, via video link from the detention facility. When the system failed, not once. Janelle Honor had written in her petition that Baker had threatened her life. Clear, specific. In writing, the judge denied it. A second woman filed the same kind of petition, also denied. Both applications were filed on a Friday. The hearing was scheduled for later. By the time it happened, Baker was already on the run. 3 men were already dead. A restraining order is an unusual legal proceeding. A judge has to decide based on only one side of the story, without the respondent present. That alone makes the bar for approval more cautious than usual. But this time, the bar wasn't cleared. Would it have stopped Baker? No one knows. A restraining order is not a physical barrier, but it would have put his name in front of the police. His name would have entered the system earlier. Maybe it would have changed nothing. Maybe it would have changed everything. That uncertainty is what makes this hardest to sit with. Robert Shine was 69 years old. He was found face down in a fish pond at his home on Papaya Farms Road. Frederick Chitta Morse was 79 years old. He was found in his bed, with words scratched into the wall above him that may have been written by the man who killed him. John Carse was 69 years old. His body was found 19 miles from the first 2 victims. 3 men, 3 days, 1 person. Jacob Baker is being held without bail. A psychiatric evaluation has been ordered. The investigation is ongoing. No motive has been officially established. The police chief said those words out loud. At the press conference, the motive is currently unknown. That's not a placeholder. That's the actual state of things. 3 bodies, 1 suspect already in custody, evidence sufficient for charges, and not a single answer to the question of why. Why these 3 men? Why Santa Muerte on the wall? Why did he scream, "Bob is dead," as if he wanted to be heard? This case is just beginning. A trial is ahead. A psychiatric evaluation is ahead. Possibly a defense attempt to argue insanity. Possibly answers that never come. In the meantime, the community of Puna, built on trust, on openness, on the idea that you help strangers here, is trying to understand how exactly this happened. In their community, to people they knew, by a man some of them called a good neighbor. What do you think? Did the restraining order system fail? Or is this about something deeper in how we recognize danger? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more cases told with verified facts, real court documents, and the details that actually matter. Stay curious, stay sharp, see you in the next one.